Good day to everyone. I'm Jessica Marie Cristobal from BSN 401, and we are the Group 1, and we are here today to do a podcast pertaining to the 14 Universal Principles of Management by Henry Fayol. 14 Principles of Management are statements that are based on a fundamental truth. These principles of management serve as guidelines for decision making and management actions. They are drawn up by means of observations and analysis of events that managers encounter in practices. Henry Fayol was able to synthesize 14 principles of management after years of study, namely for number 1, division of work. In practice, employees are specialized in different areas and they have different skills. Different levels of expertise can be distinguished within the knowledge areas. According to Henry Fayol, specialization promotes efficiency of the workforce and increases productivity. In addition, the specialization of the workforce increases their accuracy and speed. For example, in healthcare setting, midwives tends to have wider knowledge and wider experience in newborn delivery. As having a wider skills, midwives may supervise and support nurses in order to promote efficiency and accuracy in workplace. For the number 2, authority and responsibility. In order to get things done in an organization, management has the authority to give orders to the employee. According to Henry Fayol, the accompanying power or authority gives the management the right to give orders to the subordinates. The responsibility can be tracked back from performance and it is therefore necessary to make agreements about this. Example, in a hospital setting, the clinical instructor will be held liable to the actions of his or her students. In order to protect his or her credibility, she needs to check if the students have enough learning about the procedure they need to perform.
Good morning, this is Christine Nagal and here is number 3, discipline. This third principle of the 14th principle of management is about discipline. It is often a part of core values of a mission vision in the form of good conduct and the respectful interactions. This management principle is essential and is seen as the oil to make the engine of an organization run smoothly. For example, FUIN are known for being well-disciplined student nurses whenever they are in a campus or in the other hospital. Number 4, unity of command. The management principle unity of command means that an individual employee should receive orders from one manager and that the employee is answerable to that manager. If tasks and related responsibilities are given to that employee by more than one manager, this may lead to confusion, which may lead to possible conflicts for employees. For example, when a student nurse receives an order to the staff nurse but your clinical instructor contradicts to it, you should be able to choose or know which one to follow. Effectiveness of the said order is a must and should be patient-centered.
This is Janeline Cinco. And for number 5, unity of direction. This management principle of the 14 principles of management is all about focus and unity. All employees deliver the same activities that can be linked to the same objectives. All activities must be carried out by one group that forms a team. These activities must be described in a plan of action. For example, in a clinical setup, this principle of management can be applied when having a medical mission. All the health team members should unite in order to achieve their specific objectives. For number 6, subordination of the individual interests. There are always all kinds of interests in an organization. In order to have an organization function well, Henry Fayol indicated that personal interests are subordinate to the interests of the organization. The primary focus is on the organizational objectives and not on those of the individual. For example, each member of a nursing organization have their own personal objectives in terms of giving care to the patients, but they always came up with the goal of their organization rather than their own interests.
This is Abigail C. Bukatot. For number 7, remuneration. Motivation and productivity are close to one another as far as the smooth running of an organization is concerned. This management principle of the 14 principles of management argues that the remuneration should be sufficient to keep employees motivated and productive. For example, in the area when the student nurse does something good, the clinical instructor complimented her performance and gave the student a high grade. Number 8. The degree of centralization. Centralization implies the concentration of decision-making authority at the top management. Sharing of authorities for the decision-making process with lower levels is referred to as the centralization by Henry Fayol. For example, the chief nurse asked the opinion and idea of her colleagues starting for lower level of nurses until the highest level whenever they would be having a health teaching program.
I am Armelaika L. Timbol. For scalar chain, hierarchy presents itself in any given organization. This varies from senior management to the lowest levels in the organization. Henry Fayol's hierarchy management principle states that there should be a clear line in the area of authority from top to bottom and all the managers at all levels. For example, a nurse wants to report an incident happened in the area. Instead of telling it straight to the director of the hospital, they report it first to their colleagues, then to their chief nurse until it goes to the higher position in their situation. For number 10, order, according to this principle of the 14 principles of management, employees in an organization must have the right resources at their disposal so that they can function properly in an organization. For example, disposing sharp properly in a sharp container, and for another example is after using charts, the nurse should put it back to the right place.
I'm Colleen Michelle Cacabelos, and for number 11, equity. The management principle of equity often occurs in the core values of an organization. According to Henry Fayol, employees must be treated kindly and equally. And for example, the chief nurse should treat her or his staff nurse equally. For number 12, the stability of tenure of personnel. This management principle of the 14 principles of management represents deployment and managing of personnel, and this should be in balance with the service that is provided from the organization. For example, prior to clinical practice, nurses should be disseminated in other areas according to their expertise.
I'm Joshua Allen Emong. For number 13, initiative, Henry Fayol argued that with this management principle, employees should be allowed to express new ideas. This encourages interest and involvement and creates added value for the company. Employee initiatives are a source of strength for the organization according to Henry Fayol. For example, the nurse should have the initiative to care her patient. Another example is keep patient comfortable through art in nursing. For number 14, esprit de corps, the management principle esprit de corps of the 14 principles of management stands for striving for the involvement and unity of the employees. Managers are responsible for the development of morale in the workplace, individually and in the area of communication. Esprit de corps contributes to the development of the culture and creates an atmosphere of mutual trust and understanding. For example, in endorsing a patient to new shift nurse, they need communication and understanding about their patient.
That's all. Thank you for listening.